Hello and welcome to today's NinjaTrader Ecosystem webinar event with Gabriel of Into FX. My name is Tiffany and I am a platform representative at NinjaTrader. Today's webinar is interactive, so if you'd like to ask questions during the presentation, please open the chat window. You can open the chat window by moving your mouse to the bottom of the Zoom window and pressing the chat icon. Once you have the chat window enabled, I'd like to test for audio and visual. So if you can hear my voice and see the projection in the room, please type Y into the chat now. Thank you all for confirming that. Again, we have a very special event with you today with Gabriel of Into FX. But before we get started, I'd like to place a poll into the room. While you fill that out, I'd like to mention that it is important to understand that there are substantial risks in trading commodity future contracts and forex. You should carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you and to depend on your specific circumstances and financial resources. It is possible to lose all funds deposited with your broker and can even incur losses beyond these amounts. Please inquire at the link provided for more information or for a copy of the CFTC full risk disclosure. Also, please remember that these training webinars are not a solicitation nor recommendation, but simply educational in nature. This webinar is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage-related questions should be directed to NinjaTrader Brokerage directly at the information provided. Thank you all for filling out that poll. The question is, what type of tools or services have you used from the NinjaTrader ecosystem? It appears 31% are using it for indicator and strategies. I'm having some tongue ties today. 31% of you are using it for education, 2% for programming services, and 37% of you have not yet used the NinjaTrader ecosystem. The NinjaTrader ecosystem website is home to hundreds of third-party apps and services, all centered around the NinjaTrader platform. With new tools added nearly every day, NinjaTrader ecosystem is home to hundreds of apps and services. You can quickly and easily find the tools and services you're looking for with a simple keyword search. You'll also find information about upcoming webinars and on-demand video archive to view event recordings at the link provided. For up-to-date information, be sure to like or follow NinjaTrader ecosystem on all social media platforms. I provided both Twitter as well as Facebook links within the chat. NinjaTrader is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. To ensure you are on the latest version of NinjaTrader and pick up our free live data trial, please visit the following link. You can purchase or lease NinjaTrader at the following link. And if you're just getting started with NinjaTrader, we offer free live training on a daily basis. You can view a schedule of weekly webinars at the following link. We are very excited for this unique event in which Gabriel will demonstrate how to shift your thinking and go from zero to hero. Thanks again for your attendance today, and without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Gabriel. Please take it away, Gabriel.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well?
You are coming in loud and clear, and I can see your screen.
Okay. How is everybody doing? Just give me a message on the chat. Okay, so my name is Gabriel Grammatidis, and today I want to talk about going from zero to hero in less than a year. So that's basically about trader development and to improve your trading in 2021. So let's start with the presentation. So typically traders face very serious challenges, and I've just listed the top 10 trader challenges that come up repeatedly with those traders that I'm working closely with. Let's have a quick look over these top 10 trader challenges. So I guess the top one, and which is the most obvious, is of not having a system with an edge and still trying to trade. And the second one is being overwhelmed, frustrated, or completely completely lost. Well, that's typical for novice traders, right? Or the top three, having a system that is too complex and as a result too confusing. Or the fourth, jumping the gun at whatever moves. So these four, the first four trader challenges is basically when you don't have a plan, right? When you don't know what you're doing. Now the fourth one, trading with a mental state of fear, anger, of euphoria. So you could have a great system, right? But if you're trading with fear, anger, or euphoria, well, it's difficult to be consistent as a trader, right? So this is why this is the top five trader challenge. Another thing is we are conditioned as being perfectionists by school, right, and family, and making mistakes is actually a very important thing you need to do when learning to trade. And here, deep practice, well, the concept of deep practice is actually based on making mistakes and improving those mistakes and getting better and better, learning by doing. Top 7 is jumping in, trading the live markets right away. Well, that's very typical, right? I mean, 95% of traders are just trying to trade the markets and make money from the markets. Well, I think that's a serious mistake. And that's why it's a trader challenge, because everybody wants to jump right in, right? But it's not a good thing to do, actually. Top 8 is wanting to achieve too much too fast. Well, developing as a trader or becoming a trader is actually something that takes some time and effort, unfortunately, right? Top 9 is having no or the wrong trading goals. Well, this is something I learned when I developed as a trader, like many years back, right? I had no trading goal. Well, then the trading goal actually becomes to maximize the return you make per day. Well, that's not a good trading goal, right? And I've learned that stretch goals don't work either. So what works well is having trading goals that are minimum goals, like low-hanging fruits, and from there on, well, you can build up consistency. Top 10 is trading in a state of insecurity, stress, or confusion. So that's very common, right? Of getting pushed around by the market if you're not, the captain of your trading. And I like to compare trading actually with dating, right? So if you're insecure and needy, well, it's really difficult to find a life partner you really want, right? And it's a little bit similar with trading. Now let's hear some of the fundamental truths. I'm deeply convinced that everybody, and that means everybody, including yourself, has all the potential to be successful as a trader already, right? But you might not have everything yet to actually overcome these challenges, because each of those challenges, or some might be more relevant for you than the other, but this set of challenges basically hinders you to become a consistent trader. So learning to trade is not easy. So it takes time and effort, right? For some, it takes 5 years. For others, it takes 10 years. Well, if you don't want to spend that much time and effort, well, you actually have to think about applying deliberate practice. And the concepts of deliberate practice or deep practice allow you to go much faster. And this is the way forward. And this is something I want to talk about today as well a little bit later. So every trader needs to go through a process of trader development, right? And that's very important. You don't start as a developed trader when you trade the markets. It's a little bit, well, you can compare it really nicely with athletes, right? With sports, which is as well a peak performance activity. Well, athletes, they have to train, they have to develop, they have to go through drills. And you have to think in the very same way in trader development, actually. Here, just on a side note, well, a successful trader is a happy person, right? If you talk to successful traders, they're all happy, they're balanced, and whatever happens, they're fine, right? So in order to be happy, and that's something that Van Tharp talks about a lot is, well, you need to look at your goals and aspirations, your desires and values, and there shouldn't be any conflicts there. And the nice thing being a trader, well, you actually have to live a happy life, right? Otherwise, it's difficult to be consistent. So how do you know all this? Well, it's from my own trader experience when I developed. And I actually know all of those challenges. I've experienced them firsthand myself. So I actually know from my own perspective what it means to be in each of those buckets. But as well, I've coached more than 500 traders. I've taught my systems and coached them through to achieve mastery, basically. So let's have a look at the next slide. So what is my background and what simple plan do I recommend? So my background, I've studied business and economics. And then I worked for more than 10 years with one of the major asset management companies, PIMCO and Allianz GI, Global Investors. Some of you might surely have heard the name Bill Gross. Well, he's the authority on bonds, or the king of fixed income, which is kind of the counterpart of Warren Buffett on the fixed income side, or Al Arian, who's in the press a lot. I'm successfully trading the markets for more than 35 years. I actually started trading with 15 years old. So that was my passion from very early on. I'm an instructor at the Van Tharp Institute since more than 10 years now. And I'm personally trading Forex, futures and cryptocurrencies. And I'm teaching as well seminars and workshops in these three categories. So becoming a consistent trader did not make me actually a successful coach right away when I started teaching 10 years back. So first, a couple of first years, as I taught my workshops and I explained all the rule sets behind, etc., and I provided transparency, well, it actually turned out that my workshop was a shelf workshop. So people went home and actually did not end up trading the systems. So this is how I understood, okay, something is missing. And this is then how I became interested, and I'm really passionate about developing trader talent nowadays, apart from teaching my workshops. And it's possible to do that not in 10 years or 5 years, or it's actually possible to do that in 8 months. And even I've got cases now where it happens in only six months. Well, let's have a look at what are the keys to unlock your trader development. So it's basically three main keys, right? So first, it's you need a trading system with an edge. It's like having the Formula One car in front of your house, right? But only having the car doesn't make you successful. You need to learn to drive it, and this is what I mean here. That's a second key. That's a trader development process. So it's a process that takes time and effort, right? Teaching a system goes relatively quickly. Well, this takes a bit longer. Once you have gone through your trader development process, what might come up for you, or it might not, is that you need to work on your psychology. Well, you need a good psychological and spiritual base. So this comes up as the third key for I would say most of you and everybody else. So what are the main trader steps along the way? So the first step is to become a simulation professional, right? So you want to focus on simulating a system, whatever system you learn. You really want to focus on the simulation for at least 100 trades per system. And that takes, that's for 3 systems, it takes about 1 month. So once you have completed that stage, then you actually want to become a live markets professional. And that means that you have to build your live trading process, right? Being a simulation professional doesn't make you successful right away trading the live markets, because they're much more complex, right? And that takes about 3 months. So here you're already a consistent trader. And then what comes on top is, you can develop and find your individual niche. So what is the game plan now? Well, first of all, you need a system with an edge, or ideally various systems with an edge. And then you apply the concepts of deep practice or deliberate practice with a trading simulator. That's how you achieve exponential skill growth. So time accelerates basically, right? And then you build your live trading process to get the consistency. And in the end, what comes out of it? Well, you trade the markets in a cool, calm, and confident state of mind with consistency. This is one of my students. She coined this term, and I really liked it. Cool, calm, and confident. And that's actually the mental state you're looking for. So what is my approach? I get asked that a lot. So let's have a quick look at my approach and my style of trading. So I'm a rule-based discretionary trader, and I'm specialized on specific visual chart patterns based on a clear set of rules. So I'm a trend follower, but I'm very flexible. So I need a trend. But on the other side, I'm very flexible with the symbol list. So here you see an example of a couple of currency pairs, and I'm very flexible with the time frame. It's on top of here, and this basically spans a matrix, right? In each of those cross points, well, this is a potential trade opportunity. And it's little bit like fishing, right? That's the ocean, and you span the net, and somewhere well, a fish will appear that you can actually catch as a trading opportunity. So based on these, yeah, so these patterns are built on the idea of a very tight stop. So I'm looking in a broad universe for very tight stop ideas based on very specific visual price patterns that follow certain rules. So what is the difference versus other traders? So I would say that most traders actually like the Kung Fu trading style. Well, I think Kung Fu is a great thing, right? I would like to do it, but actually I found out it's not something for me in trading. So what is a Kung Fu style? Well, it means that you can go long and short at any time. You're looking at a chart and you're prepared to go long and short whatever comes up. This is a Kung Fu style, right? Most traders as well focus on one instrument. Let's say it's the euro dollar or the S&P and one time frame. So it could be the euro dollar and the 5-minute chart. That's basically here, this one point. Well, this results in a trading style that is very intuitive, right? Otherwise, you would wait for weeks and months for a specific pattern coming up. So that makes it difficult. It's a very intuitive trading style. And that's why I call that the Kung Fu style. It's great if you can, but it might take you 5 to 10 years to actually learn that, right? So what I need first is a trend, and then I'm looking for a pattern, and then I'm looking for higher time frame alignment. So whatever my rule set is, well, it's not only based on one time frame, but on several time frames. All right, let's move on. So that's an overview of the trader development path that basically everybody goes through, and it starts as a novice and it continues. So what you want to achieve in simulation mode when you simulate, let's say for 1 month, well, you want to achieve the competence level. This is when you're consistently able to trade. And this is when you start trade consistently. When you get consistent hours, right? You start to get consistent hours. So you might have a couple of days with positive hours, and then you might have 1 or 2 days with negative hours. Like one level below is you start to trade inconsistently. Well, this means you've got a great day, and the next day you lose all of it. Well, as you move up the ladder, so to say, you can see here the emotions, right? Fear, anger, depression, frustration, resistance. Well, it gets easier and easier the higher you go. And this is the trader development path, right? And you want to think about first how you move those steps in order not to get stuck in one or the other bucket. Right, so how do we move in trader development? What is the best approach? And I found out, and it has been tested over time, countless times, deep practice or deliberate practice is actually the concept to go. There's no holy grail in system development, or there's no holy grail indicator, right? But there's a holy grail in skill development, and that's deep practice and deliberate practice. What actually happens is that you can accelerate your growth by a factor of 10. That's what in the book, The Talent Code, it might be 5, 6, 7, 8, but you have a huge acceleration, right? You've got an exponential skill growth. So what is that deep practice? So this is a definition: a mindful and highly structured form of learning by doing, by growing from making mistakes. So the cornerstone is actually making mistakes, right? Provoking mistakes and learning from them so that you don't make these mistakes over and over. So it's a mindful and highly structured approach. This is why I actually like better the term deep practice, because it's a very mindful and slow process as well. So these are the main process steps. It gets more and there are more detailed ones, but let's have a quick look about those. So first you want to know what is the whole process of this trade to take. Well, then you can actually chunk it up in little pieces, this process, right? Then you slow it down and you train and you practice each chunk slowly and repeatedly until you master it. Once you have mastered 2 chunks, well, then you actually have to integrate 2 chunks into another, right? If you have mastered 5 chunks, well, then you have to integrate 5 chunks. And as you learn and grow, especially if it's exponential skill growth, well, you will actually love it, right? It's really a nice experience for humans to grow and learn. So once you have mastered all the chunks, well, then you have to make it fluent, and that's nothing else than integrating the whole process, the process you have seen in the beginning. So science, it's not that long ago that science has started to talk about myelin. I think it's only about 10 years. So skill is insulation that wraps neural circuits and grows according to certain signals. So myelin is important. So what is myelin? Myelin is a pearlescent white substance that wraps those nerve fibers, making the signal stronger and faster. So the more you practice deep practice, well, each practice wraps myelin, and the thicker the myelin gets, the better it insulates the neural circuits, and that means that, well, your skill gets more precision and more speed, and this is what we want, right? As a sportsman and as a trader. So white matter, myelin matters. Now adaptation is important. So that occurs when purposely operating at the edges of one's comfort zone. This is how we provoke mistakes, right? Small failures. So we need to go into a stretch zone, right, out of our comfort zone. That's the sweet spot of learning. And there we are making small failures as we are learning chunk by chunk. And out of these failures, well, these are aha moments and sparks of learning, right? And every aha moment, well, it's a great moment, right? And the accumulation of aha moments, well, this is basically describing this step that you love it, right? Growing. So it's a simple formula. We go into a healthy stretch, well, that produces a productive struggle, and the struggle is adaptation, and adaptation means, well, that myelin gets wrapped. It's like when you go to the fitness studio, well, you have to struggle your muscles as well, and what happens? Well, muscle growth. That's the adaptation. And it's basically these 3 things that have to come together. It's a deep practice. Then you need some form of motivation. That's typically a group of like-minded traders. And then you need expert guidance that leads you around this process. And this is how exponential skill growth occurs. Well, let's see. Okay, well, let's have a look at this matrix because it's quite interesting, right? So everybody starts here at the bottom left. It's unconscious competence. You don't know that you don't know, right? And this pretty quickly moves you into the next quadrant, that you know that you don't know, right? And as you learn a new system, well, then you have conscious competence. But conscious competence is not yet enough to be a consistent trader, right? It's like you want to become a dancing champion and you read a dancing book or you watch a dancing video, well, then you know the dance steps, but and you're far away to winning a contest, right? So this is then the step of, well, to get here, well, that's quickly done, right? To get here, well, that takes a little bit longer, and this is what I refer to trader development. And in this upper left quadrant, well, then here you're consistently trading, and you're trading in a competent, unconscious way. That's what we're looking for, basically, like driving a car after many years of car driving experience. So what helps you? What are the success factors? Well, personality type A, these are the get-goers, which is about 70% of my traders. Are type A, including myself. You can move pretty fast here, but type A's, once they get here, type B's, once they get here, and it takes them longer, well, for them, it's much easier to actually start to trade consistently the live markets. Depends on your learning type. I've written some articles about this. Find on my webpage. You have to go through individual learning stages, and it depends as well on your mental state of consciousness, how well you do, right? Typically, to wrap myelin, well, it takes about 3 months, right? The adaptation process takes some time. And and once you become competent, well, this is where you actually want to go, and then you want to dive into this this quadrant. Well, I provide a couple of services, products to my traders via an e-course, via workshops and group and individual mentoring. We'll come to that at the very end of this presentation. All right, so let's see. What is my recommendation for your trading journey? Well, you have to embrace a paradigm shift, right? In order to overcome these 10 trader challenges, very easily one can get stuck in one or several one of those trader challenges. If you're not even aware of those trader challenges, well, it's even more difficult, right, to get out of it. Even if you're aware of it, well, you need, you need to find ideas and solutions how to deal with it, right? I think because a lot of traders are not ending up to be consistent, well, a paradigm shift is needed. And this is why it's not that easy, right, learning to trade. So what is the paradigm shift? Well, you need to think about deep practice and apply deep practice. Otherwise, it takes too long, right? You cannot, I mean, waiting for 5 or 10 years to become successful, that's difficult, right? So what is an alternative to deep practice? Well, it would be naive practice. That's just trading the markets and trying to get better and better every day. And as you might know, a couple of years pass by very quickly, right? Without making major improvements. Another way is, well, practice by osmosis. That's what is applied in proprietary trading firms a lot. That a novice trader is positioned next to a successful trader, and he's just watching how he's doing and trying to learn by osmosis, right? Well, just imagine yourself being on the dancing floor during a dancing contest and watching a professional. Well, good luck, right, to understand what he's doing and why. So you need to think about the concepts of deep practice to really go fast. You need to apply simulation technology, I think, that speeds up your process a lot. And you have to think about the trader development path, right? And you want to go actually slowly, right? You want to go step by step. Start from simulation to demo trading and then to real money trading. So basically, it doesn't have to take years, right? It takes years if you apply naive practice, but it shouldn't. If you think about this paradigm shift. I've got a couple of students just recently as well that have been able to achieve consistency in less than 6, well, in less than 8, well, even 6 months. And there are even novice traders who didn't even know like 6 months before what a candle is and what an EMA, a moving average, means. So think about, well, we didn't talk about this, but think as well about counterintuitive systems, right? What typically works good is not the logic things trading the market. So it's the counterintuitive things. So if you've got a system that is counterintuitive, well, even better. Think about system edges. So what edges you can actually put into a system? Like it's like cooking a meal, right? You've got different ingredients, and the sum of the ingredients and the duration of the cooking makes it great and an art piece. Think about leading indicators, not lagging indicators, and think about visual pattern recognition. I think it's a big edge to focus your attention on visual patterns in the market. So that's charting analysis, right, based on visual patterns. Well, in the end, what comes out of it? Well, you want to become the captain of your trading. You want to be cool, calm, and confident, right? And applying these things, well, you might make a major step forward. Right. So what is next? What can how can people get more information and get in contact with me? Well, you can check out my website, which is intofx.com. There's a lot of written content, like articles I've written for the Vanthab newsletter, and a lot of video content, futures, forex, and cryptocurrencies. You can go to on that webpage, you have a link, a button to my Facebook page with the same name, IntoFX. Please like my Facebook page, and that way you get posts automatically fed. And you can join my YouTube channel. So that's all for free, right? Next thing you can do, well, you can read my upcoming Forex workshop, the description of my upcoming Forex workshop that starts the 24th of March. And you find that on the Van Tharp web page, right? So you can register for the workshop, or you can purchase my e-course. It's a one-day e-course of the busted breakout system. So on all Van Tharp workshops, well, you get a 100% money back guarantee. These are 3-day workshops. On the mid of the second day, if you're not completely satisfied, well, you get your money back, and that's a great, it's a free trade basically, right? I've talked with Van Tharp about this. Well, I told him about this webinar, and I could get him to actually give you a special discount. As well, we are offering a try to buy option. So that's the first day only of a 3-day workshop. You see, these workshops are not low priced, right? I mean, a 3-day workshop costs $3,995, but this option day one is priced at $395. And you here of this Ninja webinar, well, you get a special 150 discount code. So it actually comes down to 245 for the first day. And we've never made this offer, and we will not make it to a lot of people, right? So it's limited to the first 50 subscribers. So if you want to get this discount code, you will actually need to write me. That's my email, gabriel@vantharp.com, and then I can provide you with the codes to go for the day one option as well. I'm going to send you a free ebook on successful trader development. So some of these concepts I've talked about here will be in this ebook, and a couple of more things, right? So it might be interesting. So just get in contact with me. As well, you can subscribe for free. If you send me an email to my upcoming, I'm going to produce a free FX webinar series. So that might be interesting. And I'm going to provide you a couple of trader chat interviews. So from students of mine, where I'm interviewing them, how they've been successful and why. And these are just 3 examples, and all of those have been have achieved trader consistency in less than 6 months. And the last one was a complete novice. So sometimes people go off like a rocket, and that's quite fascinating. So I think we've come to an end, and we're pretty good in time. So let's come up with the questions now. I think we've got 15 minutes for questions. Okay, so I'm seeing a question here. What is the difference between simulation and demo trading? Well, that's a big difference, right? I mean, demo trading, you're trading the live market. Like if you're trading a 15-minute chart, well, each bar takes 15 minutes to develop, right? Well, as you are simulating, well, you speed up time. So a 15-minute bar might come up in a second, right? So that's simulation. You're just going. It's a live history replay. You're playing historic data as if live. Okay, what is an example of a leading indicator? So a leading indicator, for example, is a pivot, right? A lagging indicator, that's easier to explain. So a lagging indicator is based on past price history. So a lagging indicator is basically, for example, a moving average crossover. So if V8 crosses over the 20, well, then price has already done that well before. And then later you see the crossover. That's a lagging indicator. Does your workshop apply for the futures markets or just a Forex, right? Okay, so I'm teaching 2 workshops per year, right? So one is on Forex, one is a Forex workshop where I'm teaching 3 Forex systems I'm trading, and another 1 workshop per year in the autumn, in September, I'm teaching a futures workshop where I'm teaching as well 3 distinct future systems. So next one coming up in end of March is Forex. What is the best way to learn simulation. Well, the first thing is, well, you need a system, right? So let's just assume you have a system. Well, then you can apply this system on moving charts, right? However, you would trade the system in demo mode, or you can run the simulator. You pick a time frame, you pick a symbol, and you pick a time period. You could pick the year, I don't know, 2020, and you simulate it from January to December in fast forward. Well, another edge of a simulator is, well, you can stop it, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, or you can reverse, right? If you made a mistake in your rule execution, well, you actually have to go back and redo it, right? Then you go back and redo it. And then you've done it correctly, well, you go back and redo it correctly. You want to overwrite what you've been doing wrong. This is how you wrap myelin. And that's actually the biggest edge of a simulator. You can go back and simulate and overwrite your mistakes. Okay, if I'm trading a specific setup every day, should I worry about that pattern disappearing in the future? Does the same pattern always appear in the market? Well, I don't know which setup you're trading. It really depends on on the setup. Like my patterns, they're based on human flaws. And human flaws don't change. So I haven't changed my rules for the last 10 years. It really depends. Some patterns come and go. You have to find out for the one you are trading. Okay, which time frame is best to trade? Well, it really, well, talking about Forex and futures, well, it doesn't really matter. They're like these patterns, they come up in all time frames, right? And I'm applying the exact rules in these time frames. So there's not a which time frame is better to trade than the other. It's more like which time frame do you want to trade and which time frame fits you best, right? If you're working part-time, or if you're working full-time, or if you're at home 100% with no work, like full-time trading, well, then you will trade a different time frames, right? Don't understand what you mean. Opinion about the funding companies. I don't know what you mean about funding companies. Okay. Any other question? Okay, what systems I teach for futures? Well, for futures, I'm specialized on visual patterns in multi time frames. I've got 3 systems I teach. I trade every day, and they've got names. So the first one is the gecko, the second one is the turtle, and the third one is the sniper setup. If you go on my webpage or you go to my YouTube channel, you find a good number of trade examples actually on these systems. I've got for futures a separate playlist, same for Forex and crypto. So you can actually see all that. How much do you recommend to begin trading? What do you mean with how much? How much money or how big your trading account? Capital. Well, the good thing with Forex is you don't, well, so let's say you've done your simulation, right? You've done your demo trading. So now you're actually trading a real money account. And that's your question. Well, the good thing with Forex is you can position size really well with Forex, and you don't need a big trading account. You can position size perfectly well with a $5,000 account or even smaller. Right, so that's pretty good for Forex. You need a bigger trading account if you want to trade futures, though. Right. Okay, Nigel, does your system apply to end of day trading, use of limit orders left overnight? Yeah, you can trade end of day. That would basically be a 240-minute chart or daily, weekly chart or monthly. And yeah, sure. Sometimes I get in with a market order, sometimes with a stop buy order. So you can work with orders overnight. Clearly, it's a nice thing. It's a 24-hour market, both Forex and futures, and you can leave your stop in the market while you sleep, not get a bad surprise. All right, Ken, are you an advocate of daily meditations prior to trading? Well, I'm an instructor of the Van Traub Institute, right? And meditation is a big thing. Well, it improves your mental state. And if you want to be a successful trader and be consistent, well, you actually need a morning trading preparation process. And that process involves a meditation as well. And you don't need to meditate 3 hours. I mean, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is enough to just calm your mind. Where can I find your YouTube channel, Davis? Well, you go to my website, intofx.com, and on the bottom right, there's a button, and you can click on that, and you get to my YouTube, IntoFX. It's called IntoFX as well, YouTube and IntoFX Facebook page. So can you apply Fibonacci boundaries to your trading schemes? I'm using Fibonacci rules. Well, not as a first priority rule, but I'm using it in my exit algorithm. I've got a multi-factor exit algorithm, and the Fibonacci rules they play an important role for my exits basically. Fibonacci are leading indicators as well, because they're not depending on past price activity. You want a replay? You cannot hear me? Well, I hope everybody else can hear me well. Herbert. Okay. What do you think of incorporating Wyckoff principles, Jody? Well, I've looked into Wyckoff. It's quite some time ago, but I quite like it as far as I remember, because it basically, it's focused on the dynamics of the buyer and seller, right? The Wyckoff principles. And my systems are, have a strong fundament on these dynamics as well. Okay, what is my opinion on trading order flow? Well, I've got a pretty strong opinion that it's I cannot make an edge out of it. I've looked at that several times. I don't think order flow is something. Well, I cannot use it as an edge, so I'm not looking at order flow. And well, if you're trading a illiquid stock, well, you need to look at order flow, right? But forex and futures are so liquid, it's not really relevant. Okay, what is the correct risk percentage? Well, I would start with the standard risk percentage is 1% of capital, right, for every trade put at risk. Well, starting out, I would use 0.5% or even 0.25%. But that, like, the percentage you apply to your system, it depends on how good your system is, right? If your system has a high SQN, well, you can scale up your percentage, or you can use other position sizing algorithms like markets money, which will bring up your position size with an improve in the equity curve. But I would just start with simple percentage, 1%, 0.5%. Right, what else? All right, so just to remind you again, if you want to get information from me, you will actually have to write me, right, to my email, and that's gabriel@vantharp.com. If you write me, you will get the special discount code here you can use for the try to buy option, which gives you a fantastic price on system one, so on day one and system one, and you get a free ebook. So write me and check out my website. And check out the workshop description on vantharp.com. You can read about the upcoming workshop. And I'm just posting you a link here in the chat, and you get directly to my to the workshop description. Okay. Peter, will a recording of the course be available for people who cannot attend live? Okay, so the workshop takes place at New York time, so from 9 to 5 plus, basically. Well, it's recorded, and you can watch these recordings up to 1 month after the workshop, video on demand. So there's no need to be live there. Anything else? We've got a couple of more minutes going. And I can highly recommend to watch these videos. They are basically brand new, the Trader Chat interviews. You can see how people develop in the trader development and what it feels like, right? Before they start to develop and after they start to develop, when they are consistent or when they've achieved expert level. So Ray has already achieved expert level. And the others too. They've dived even above the competence level. Anything else? What? Uh, okay, can you use your Forex systems on Forex futures? Okay, so you want to trade Forex futures. Okay, so when I trade futures, and my future systems are based on all asset classes except Forex, right? So Forex, I only trade the spot Forex market. However, if you learn the Forex trading systems, well, then you can execute them if you want with Forex futures, right? One thing is where you get the signal from, which would be the Forex spot market. And the second thing is, well, where you execute the trade, and you could use Forex futures. I don't do charting on Forex futures because the market is very illiquid, right? And the charts plotted are different from the spot Forex charts. And spot Forex is the big market. I think the Forex futures only make 2% of the Forex spot. So you get charts that are not reflecting reality. You get the signal from the Forex spot market. All right, 245 course can get a trader to expert without further charters and courses. Well, the 245 is this side, is the try to buy day one. On day one, well, you get you understand how to trade the market, the Forex. You understand what strategies to apply, and you get the rules for system one. In the first half of day two, well, we're looking at practical examples of day one. We're looking at screenshots, and we're doing some simulations. Well, here it starts, right? I mean, in the workshop, I can only provide conscious competence. What comes after this? Well, then you have to go through your trader development process. Well, you do it on your own, applying a simulator, or I'm offering group courses and like group mentoring, which is what I recommend, or individual mentoring, and can actually go to start your trader development process. And there are obviously additional charges attached. Okay, Amit, can we trade naked without hedging in futures? I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean with naked? And I'm not hedging. I'm just using plain long and short. I'm trading the futures plain long and short. Okay, Jonathan, the same strategies for Forex and equities futures. No, in my Forex workshop, well, these are very specific patterns, price patterns for the Forex market. I don't trade those in the futures market, nor equities futures. So you mean equity index futures, right? Well, the future systems are different, yeah. But futures is not only equity futures, right? I mean, we're talking about crude oil, we're talking about gold, energies, metals, etc. Even Bitcoin future. Now we've got the Ethereum future as well. Okay. Anything else before we close? Or somebody before asked about what it means to be successful. Well, for me, successful, and this is the goal, like each of my students gets, is the goal is to achieve 2 hours per week, right? Well, 2 hours per week, well, that ends up more than 100 hours per year. And if you trade 1%, well, that's more than 100%. So 2 hours per week, it's basically, it's a minimum goal, right? You want to achieve consistently. Once you have achieved 2 hours, let's say on Wednesday, you already have 5 hours, well, then you can go to the moon and try to make it a big hour week, right? But the minimum should be 2 hours. And if you can achieve 2 hours consistently, well, then the goal is not to make more and more and more hours per day or per week. Well, then it's actually to increase your position size once you have achieved consistency. Well, for me, order flow is not important. I just use kind of a very basic version of order flow when I'm trading illiquid markets, like if I'm trading options or cryptocurrencies, or you don't want to get in with a big position with a market order, right? So illiquid markets, but futures and forex are very liquid, and I'm not worried at all to get in with a market order.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up here. I will go ahead and give you an option, or if you'd like to answer one more question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Shall I unshare or Tiffany?
You absolutely can. Are you all wrapped up?
Yeah, sure. I'm fine, yeah.
Perfect. Well, I would like to start off by giving a thank you to Gabriel of Into FX for a great presentation today. Everyone in attendance here today will receive an on-demand video recording of today's event, so just keep an eye out for that email. NinjaTrader Ecosystem is pleased to sponsor these weekly vendor events as a value-added service for our clients. If you find value in these events, we hope that you will attend them on a regular basis. We would like to remind you the information provided in this was of Into FX and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Again, we appreciate the time you spent with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us at NinjaTrader Ecosystem. And again, thank you so much, Gabriel.
Thank you.
And I will leave the room open for just a few more moments so anyone can get that link that you just added.